you can go ahead and record. Thank you.
Sorry, we're going.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Pam Traylor, and I'm here today with Miss Jasmine, Miss Kaylee, Miss Crystal, and Miss Laura, all from DuValle. And we're here to talk about conscious discipline and the ways that they utilize conscious discipline in their classrooms and also during NTI. Before we get started today, we have some questions that we're going to ask just to get some background information on conscious discipline and how they feel like it has changed their teaching and the climate within DuValle. So we're going to start with the first question. How has your classroom climate changed since implementing conscious discipline?
Well, I'll go first. I think our room is calmer since we use conscious discipline. The children get along well. We're like a classroom community because when people walk in, they're like, oh my goodness, they just act like they connect. Everybody's so friendly, everybody gets along. And ever since that we've been using it, it's been working. It's been working really well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that our sense of community and sense of family, we call each other, a family, has definitely increased. And, the kids, you can tell they really care about each other. In some of the practices that conscious discipline does, it kind of includes that piece of just caring about each other, wishing each other well. And so that has definitely played a big part in the kids just being more aware of the feelings and the emotions and what's going on with other kids and teachers in the classroom.
They're more tolerant of differences. Last year I had a kiddo who was almost completely nonverbal, and they really looked out for him and made sure that he was respected by everyone and that he was included in everything. And they were able to remind each other of how to handle conflict without a teacher even intervening.
That's amazing. Okay, we'll move on to question number 2. So how has DuValle as a whole changed since implementing conscious discipline? Do you see a lot of changes within the school, not just your classroom?
I think so. I think we're a great family. I mean, it's just like family. That's your other family. Everybody, when something's wrong with somebody, it seems like everybody just steps up and they're right there to support you all the time. We recognize people that are doing things well, and, everybody in the building gets recognized for things that they do well. If everybody's having a problem, we're always there to support each other. I mean, we support each other quite a bit. We really do. And I think it's worked really well, with recognizing what we're all doing. And, it makes you feel good that everybody notices and everybody, and we come in the mornings, everybody's speaking to each other. We walk down the hallway, hey, how you doing? It's just such a community. We're like a family community. I think we're really close at DuValle. Everybody's really close. I really think so. We really are.
Most definitely. And I also think that it has changed a lot of our mindsets just with how we interact with each other, like she's saying, and with our children. And it's always great when you have other teachers in the building that have the same mindset as you and are implementing the same thing. So the language is the same no matter which room you go to. So no matter if we're interacting with other adults or other kids, we all have the same language because we're implementing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. That's important. And I think it's important too, just when children change schools. Hopefully we can get to that point where all of our schools are implementing conscious discipline so that it doesn't matter if they go to DuValle or to Dawson Orman or to Stone Street, they're all hearing the same language no matter what. That's important. As of right now, obviously, as you know, there are a lot of schools out there that have not been thoroughly trained as you guys have been into conscious discipline. So you guys are really lucky, and it sounds like that family community is huge at DuValle, and that's a big deal. Not every school has that. Not every school even has that camaraderie between the teachers as it seems that you guys have. So that's phenomenal. How do you connect conscious discipline techniques to everyday life outside of the classroom? So how do you work with parents to kind of talk to them about the techniques, so maybe they're using it at home and hearing that same language at home as well? How do you do that for if the children are outside of the classroom, that they are using those same techniques that you're teaching them?
Well, for us, I know when we talk about some of the different techniques, we don't just give school examples. Like we will give home examples. Like at the beginning of the year when we're talking about breathing and why we do it, we don't just say something that would happen at school. We give examples if you're sad about something or you're mad about something. And, we let the parents know too that this is what we teach. So if you see them at home doing star breathing, then they kind of know, oh, they learned that from school. That's a way that they're using to calm themselves down.
Yeah, because you notice, the parents would tell us that, oh, my child came home and showed us how we breathe and how we're supposed to greet each other. You have a lot of the parents that tell you that they come home and the kids, if they're enjoying it, they're going to take it home and they're going to show their families too. So the mother said, oh, I have to do this with them and they want me to do this and I have to give them the bear hug and they want me to do this. So they do. The children, if they see it positively in the classroom, they take it home with them and they do it at home too. And then the family, the family goes along with it too and they reach in and they do it with them. So I think it's a good thing. It is. It really is.
And another good one. Oh, sorry, Laura.
I had one kid come in last year tell me they made a cozy corner in their room so they could have a place.
Wow.
To hang out. And this year I've had the kids, one of their assignments was to teach their parents their favorite breathing strategy. So we've gone over all the breathing strategies and then pick your favorite, teach your parents and take a video of it. So their parents are in on it too.
And then with the virtual world, it makes a difference too, because when we use these techniques during, during NTI, I can see the families participating too. You can see them in the background and they're like, oh, they're joining in, doing the same rituals that we're doing. You can see that happening in their homes now during NTI.
And I think one of the easiest ones to share with the parents is the I love you rituals. Those are really simple, small ways to connect with your child. It doesn't take much time. So when I usually talk to parents about conscious discipline, I try to implement those a little bit more with families. I know the kids kind of take home the breathing strategies more so and all the other things, but when I'm usually talking to the parents, hey, you can just do an I love you ritual. You can make one up, you can find one. It's just a small way to connect with your child, give them a little bit of love and attention and have a positive interaction with them. So I like to share those a lot with the parents.
Okay. So what are some tips that you would give teachers that are just starting out with conscious discipline? So maybe they're just at that level where they've gotten a book and they're just starting to read the book like you guys did in the beginning, doing the book study. What are, I know that sometimes teachers will think, oh, this is just another curriculum JCPS is going to put out there. It's going to be gone here in a couple of years. And so what would you tell these new teachers who are just starting out with conscious discipline?
Take it slow. Take it slow. Find one to implement and then try it out and then add more. Don't overwhelm yourself because there's a lot of great things within conscious discipline and you can get overwhelmed trying to implement everything. Just pick one first. Pick one, put it in your classroom, then implement another once you've understood how it works and how the kids interact with it. So I say take it slow.
Yeah, she's right, because, it is overwhelming. Like, we didn't start out just doing them all at once. We were just taking it a step at a time. We'd work on this one, then, after we implement, then we'd work on the next one. Don't try to do it. It is overwhelming, if you try to do it all at once. That is true. Do it at your own pace. Practice it in a mirror or whatever you need to do, or practice it with somebody else, until you get that skill down. And then go on and use it, but don't try to overwhelm yourself because it is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to learn.
And don't beat yourself up either. If you're not comfortable doing something, and don't do that one. Don't make that your first one. Do something that you are comfortable doing and that you can be consistent.
Right.
I think
I would say practice when it's calm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of breathing strategies and they work so well, but it's because we practice them all the time when it's calm. So that they know they can turn to it. It becomes a muscle memory thing. They know when they get upset, I say, do you want to breathe? And they'll automatically go into that balloon breathing or whichever strategy they like the best.
Yeah, I think, at DuValle, we've been doing it for a few years now, and I feel like we've added a new element to it every year. And so obviously, we're still not perfect with it. There's still, things in the language like noticing that I don't always do. And so I definitely agree. Start slow, start with the things that you like the most. or you think that you'll like the most, and then just build on from there.
Would you recommend them partnering with another teacher, even if they're a single unit? Let's say Stone Street, that's a single unit early childhood program. Partnering with another teacher, maybe from another school, to work on it together, to be able to collaborate together, to be able, to do the book study together and talk about it? Or do you feel like it's okay to do on your own?
Whatever you're most comfortable with, I think, is fine. Some people don't really like to partner and don't really need that kind of accountability, and some people do and they work better that way, but I think it would work either way.
I think it would work either way. Okay.
Yeah, a support team, because some of us do reach out to each other. Like, I might not have these techniques, and I might go ask one of the other teachers, well, how do you do it and what works well for you? You can get ideas from each other. That helps out too.
Yeah, and include your assistants. Have them do it. I have my assistants leading a lot of these breathing strategies and the Wish You Well board. So it's okay. Include your assistants. Have them work through the way you are going to implement it in the classroom.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how good they are at it.
Yeah.
They're probably better than we are. A lot of them, they really enjoy doing it. So a lot of them do.
Oh, good. So tell me, what are some of the positive experiences that you have found with conscious discipline? What are some things that you have seen, things that children have done, things you enjoy doing the most? Share some of those experiences with people.
Well, one of my favorite things is the Wish You Well board. And the way we do it during our morning meeting, we have everybody's pictures, and the ones who weren't there, you put them in the heart, and we put our hands over our heart. And there's a song that I know some people do, but we always just say, we wish you well. We don't know where you are. If we know what's going on, if we know where they're sick, we'll mention that. And so that's always really cute. And I've had kids come back after being gone, like, did you all wish me well when I wasn't here?
Oh.
And so it just shows that it works. They are thinking about us when they're not here at school. We're thinking about them. And it's not just a routine that we do. It's something that's intentional. It's something that they know about, and it, gets them excited.
I think when that child walks in the door that morning, the first thing when they walk in that door, how you greet that child. Sometimes it makes a difference in how their day goes. When they walk in, they might be feeling kind of sad or terrible, because we always greet them. We let them have a choice of greetings. We have the greetings hanging on the door. The child will walk in and they'll say, I want a bear hug. So we give them a hug. I want a handshake. I want a high five, all the different ones. It makes a difference in greeting that child when they walk in the door. I mean, if the child walks in and you just ignore them, how does that make that child feel? When it makes a difference when they walk in that door, and what you say to them and how you react when they come in the door, it makes a big difference. So we always greet the children every morning. We're at that door and we're greeting the children when they walk in the door every morning.
And they remind you too, if I was busy or helping a kid open their milk or whatever, I'd hear, Miss Laura, I need my hug. And they just stand there at the door waiting for me to come over and give them whatever greeting they had.
And they're used to it, because if we're doing it every single morning, like if I'm helping another child's over there pointing like, I need a handshake or I need a hug, and you're trying to get, you have 2 or 3 of them that come in the door at one time, and and they look forward to that every morning. They look forward to it every morning. They do.
And I've always loved just seeing the kids who struggle with their emotions being able to breathe on their own, or having a friend say, you need to breathe, or do you need help, or getting them something to help calm them down. I've always had really good experiences with that. And also with the kindness tree, just loving the kids loving on each other and telling each other, oh, Miss Jasmine, he did this. He helped me pour my milk out. Oh my goodness, he should get something on the kindness tree. So I always love when they are doting on each other for the great things that they do in the classroom as well.
It sounds like you guys have an amazing family environment in your classrooms. So
I have my breathing strategies up on my board in my classroom, and I was across the room. There were kids in the kitchen area, and I was way on the other side of the room. And I saw one little girl take another little girl over to where the breathing strategies were. and on my board, and they picked one off the board and they did it together, and then she put it back and they went on and played because that little girl was getting upset. And that was, I felt like that was such a huge victory. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Absolutely celebrate that success. Yes. So during this time, we've had this pandemic and we have been home since last March and or since March, sorry, not over to 2021 yet. So we have been at home and we haven't been in the classrooms, and obviously it's a lot of stress for these kids. It's a lot of stress for you as teachers as well. So how have you implemented some of those techniques that you normally do in the classroom through NTI?
Well, we started doing the virtual hug. So we all just reach out and we just said, let's give us that virtual hug. And so we all hug each other. And you can see the smiles on their faces when we do it. Say, oh, Miss Chris, we got to get that virtual hug. So we all reach out and give each other a hug in the mornings when we have our meetings with our children during NTI.
I have a virtual Wish You Well board that we use every morning in our morning meeting. And I have a virtual kindness tree that all of the kids have access to through their accounts. We do the breathing strategies every day. And if we see, especially if a kid is having issues with their parent and maybe they're fussing at each other, or if you can see somebody's upset, we'll stop and we'll say, I think, they look like they're having a rough morning. Let's breathe together. And we'll pick another breathing strategy and we'll do that.
We do the Brain Smart Start, which is a song that we normally play over the announcements every day. It just helps to wake their brain up. We do that every day before we start our lesson. And then right after that, we do our breathing. And we talk about how, we just worked out, we just moved our bodies, so we're going to breathe to calm it back down. So it definitely is difficult. There's a lot of the pieces of it that I haven't really found a meaningful way to incorporate in NTI yet, but there's definitely still a lot in it that you can use, and again, give them a use for it outside of the classroom, outside of our computer screen, things they can do in their home.
In my classroom, we also do the same things. We have the breathing, and we have a kid pick a breathing every day. So it's a different child. We'll pull a name out of the stick out of a bucket, and someone will choose the breathing. We always do the Wish You Well. I don't know if you can see that, but we have a huge one up here, and they like for me to zoom in and name their names. And we sing our song when people are missing, and when we sing, we welcome them back when they come back. And we also do greetings, and I introduce greetings to them every day. I introduce a new one, and every week I usually introduce a new one, and I usually put up about 3, and we choose them. It's been difficult because you have to figure out which of these greetings we can actually do virtually and which ones we can't. So that was a little challenging in the beginning, but they seem to enjoy it. And even if a kid comes in late, they're like, I didn't get a greeting, and I was like, okay, let's go back. We'll make sure we go back to that. So we do greetings every day as well in my classroom.
So with every new thing, there's always some struggles. So what is one struggle that you have had with conscious discipline, getting it implemented into your classroom, getting to the point that you are now? What's been a struggle that you've had?
Making it a priority, sometimes in place of other things. If you're helping a child calm down, but it's time for a small group, you can't really leave that child in the middle of them de-escalating if you're helping them. Figuring out ways around that. I once just didn't have a small group because something happened in my classroom that we needed to kind of process and discuss, and just making sure that it's a priority for you.
Okay.
You don't have to feel you have to get it all in one day, all those conscious discipline rituals, everything we do, because you can find those moments that you can use it. Moments throughout the day, throughout the week that you can use it. It doesn't have, because I was up at I got to get all these done and try to do all these concepts, and I felt like just use the moments that happen and use those rituals. You don't have to use them all the time like that. You feel like you have to do them all, but just whenever you can fit them in.
I think patience is a kind of another struggle that I've had, especially You know, if there's kids who, like the breathing, for example, like it's just not clicking. Like when they're elevated, they're in crisis, you know, you want to be like, we've been doing this all year. Why can't you breathe?
Right.
And so it's just that. It's the like patience of it's going to work. You just have to keep at it. Don't give up on it. You know, some kids are going to get it quicker than others. And so that's probably the biggest struggle I had, is just realizing that, you know, doing something for a couple weeks isn't going to solve everything. Like it has to be a habit. It has to be something you work at every single day.
Good. I know that coming into DuValle, when I've come in there to sub sometimes, there was one particular classroom that I went into, and you know, the children reminded me right from the beginning, it's time to do our breathing. I was like, oh, okay, sorry. So I had one of the children come up and they showed everybody. So you can really tell, especially at DuValle, that it is ingrained in those kids, and it's something they have the expectation to do every single day. It's part of their daily routine. And if something changes, a teacher's not there, that doesn't mean that routine changes for them, because they still want and crave having those things and feeling the way that they feel, being able to do those conscious discipline techniques, whether it be a high five in the morning that you guys give them coming through the door, or hug, to do them the breathing, to everything else. So kudos to all of you for everything you're doing for those kids. And kudos to Brian Clark for implementing this into DuValle, and thank you to you guys for giving other teachers the knowledge, a little baseline of how they can begin this journey as well. Thank you very much for being with me today.